Hello, I'm Larry Brooks. Again, we welcome you to this segment of Smart Growth Walker County. Today we're going to be talking about our magistrate court, and our magistrate judge, Shelia Thompson, is actually going to be joining us. So sit back and hopefully there'll be lots of information that you'll be able to utilize, and we'll have some opportunity for you to be able to contact her as well should you need to do that. So again, welcome, and we look forward to bringing you this segment. Again, we appreciate you joining us for this segment of Smart Growth Walker County. I'm joined by our magistrate judge, Shelia Thompson. It's great to have her with us, and again, welcome. We appreciate you coming and being here.
It's nice to be here.
All right. Well, what we're looking at here for this segment is we really want to try to introduce our viewers to your office. We want to talk about how that it is really differentiated between magistrate duties as opposed to what we may be seeing within our state and superior court. And so would love to get you just to give us a little bit of a background on the differences between.
Okay. Well, let me tell you first a little bit about the magistrate court. It evolved out of the old justice of the peace system.
Okay.
And it's been in place since July the 1st of 1983. And we're a court of limited jurisdiction. There's no jury trials in our court. You can appear with or without an attorney. It's not a court of records, so we don't have a court recorder in there recording everything. We're a pretty busy court. Last year we filed over 1,800 civil cases.
Wow.
And over 2,200 criminal cases.
Wow.
But oddly enough, there's no backlog in our court because we have court of some kind every day.
Wow. So tell me, now I want to make sure that I understand this, but when it comes to, you said you've got criminal and civil cases.
Yes.
What really differentiates them between being held within your courtroom as opposed to going to maybe the state court judge?
Okay, well in Georgia we have overlapping jurisdiction. Our limit on civil cases and on garnishments and that kind of thing is $15,000. Okay. But you could also file that case in state court or superior court. So there's some things that definitely have to be filed in superior court as far as child custody, divorces, that kind of thing. And we're basically a small claims court.
Okay. Well, you were talking about the numbers just a few moments ago. Now, of course, how many terms have you served?
Well, I was appointed in 1983, and I've just been elected one term.
Okay. But you were working with Jerry Day
Yes.
for many years.
Yes.
Have you seen I guess a rise, in those different types of cases like you were talking about with child custody, garnishment, things like that? I mean, have you seen maybe an increase in the last few years, either for or against? I mean, as far as, the numbers are concerned, as far as being higher or lower?
Well, it runs in cycles, really, but as far as the child custody, of course, we don't handle anything like that, but, and it depends on the economy, because when the economy goes down, you get a lot more suits because people are out of work, they can't pay their bills, they wind up getting sued, and it just basically runs in a cycle, but our numbers are pretty consistent over the last 5 or 6 years. As far as what we've filed. So
those numbers that you talked about just a few moments ago, I mean, that seems to be the trend as of late. Well, tell us how that, if a person had some type of case that they wanted to bring before you, how do they go about filing that with your office?
Well, this is another difference in the courts too. anything that you can file in our office, we have pre-printed forms. So you don't have to have an attorney, but you can come with an attorney. Now, if you're filing in state and superior court, unless you know how to draft what you're filing, you're pretty much going to have to see an attorney or to get some help to do that because they don't have the pre-printed forms.
When they come into the office, I mean, they can come in and talk to some of the, I guess, the clerks that you have to get those forms that they would need. What about, you were talking just a few moments ago as far as the thresholds. Again, was that the minimum threshold or is that the maximum threshold?
The 15,000 is the maximum,
okay.
Except for dispossessories, which is the landlord and tenant. And this is a freaky little thing that happened in the legislature. There's no cap on a dispossessory. I could be a tenant of yours and owe you $250,000 and still file that in magistrate court.
Wow.
It's just the one little thing that for some reason did not fall under the 15,000.
Do you see a lot of that?
Yes.
Yeah, where that it exceeds that number? Wow.
Especially in commercial, because we do residential and commercial. And you don't get one usually that's that high, but sometimes you get them over the 15,000.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's just a little oddity for some reason that they didn't handle.
Sure. Talk about some of the things, you know, that, you know, you see, I mean, as far as, you know, those things that, you know, maybe we've got a viewer out there and they're trying to determine, you know, whether or not that they feel like that they've got a case. I mean, what's some of the, maybe the, I don't want to necessarily say odd, but maybe some of the things that you don't necessarily think of, you know, when you're...
Well, the thing with their court, everybody that comes through the door has a problem of some sort, and sometimes they're new to the legal system, they have a problem, and they're just looking for where do I go and how do I handle this? And sometimes it's things that we can help, like a landlord and tenant, when you've got a tenant that won't pay. If you've got somebody that owes you a bill and won't pay that, we also handle abandoned motor vehicles. We handle foreclosures of personal property. We do certifications under the acts of Congress. We do trovers. They're just, you know, in the civil area, and then you get into the criminal part, and if you were having trouble with a neighbor or for some reason any person, and you could come there and fill out a warrant application. We set it for a hearing. We notify the person that you're wanting the warrant on. Everybody can bring witnesses, both sides, and we try those. We do search warrants, we do criminal warrants, we do waivers of extradition. We set the bonds on most things when you're actually charged. There's some things by law that has to be set by a Superior Court judge, but we do basically, you know, most of the bonds.
Wow, that's a very wide gamut
It is.
Of things that you deal with. Wow, that would require a pretty extensive, I guess, knowledge of the law.
Well, you're in the code all the time, researching cases, looking at things, because you'll have different things that come up. But basically, this is the way a week would go. From 8 to 9, we see one of the officers, one of the certified officers from the sheriff's office, brings us over the warrantless arrest and applications from the night before. We go through those. We commit on the ones. Sometimes you'll get a report and there's not enough information in it, and you'll have to go back. But for the ones that are, we will commit on the warrantless, and we do warrants for the warrant applications. Then at 9 o'clock on Monday, we do criminal warrants and any fugitive cases that come up. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do civil claims, we do dispossessories, any kind of garnishment issues that may come up. If you were traversing a garnishment, we hear those. Once a month on Fridays, we do preliminary hearings. Then again at 2 o'clock, we'll be back down at the sheriff's office to see the new inmates, the ones that we saw paperwork on, or probation violations, parole violations, and we advise them of their rights, tell them what they're charged with, make sure they understand that, and then we set a bond if it's something we can set a bond on. Now, if we had one that was something Superior Court has to set, we do a notification in writing to Superior Court telling them we've got this person down there charged with this, and, you know, they'll set the bond. But
Now,
we have somebody on call after hours,
yeah, okay.
24/7,
Sure.
from 5 till the next day, and once on the weekend, we go to the jail also and talk to the new inmates.
Well, I started to say it's been some time since I've been to your office, but I don't remember you having that big of a staff. That's incredible. How many people do you have?
We have 3 clerks, and then we have 1 full-time magistrate other than myself, and then I have 1 part-time.
Wow. Let me ask this question. I know that you were talking about abandonments just a few moments ago, and I know that there are a lot of people who seem to be bringing these issues up, as far as abandoned property and things like that. So I'm assuming that if the codes enforcement have maybe an issue with a piece of property,
Right.
I guess it goes before you. Is that the case?
Well, actually, we handle the abandonment of motor vehicles.
Oh, I see.
So the
Okay.
other is going through state court.
I see. Okay. But again, it seems like that even with those cases, it seems like that you see quite a few of.
Well, I don't know how much time we have left, but it's a terrible procedure the way it is now.
Yeah.
I've been trying since 2011 to get the code changed because the towing companies can pull from sometimes private property, or you'll have law enforcement have one pulled, or you'll have one from a wreck and the insurance company has it pulled. And it's just the procedure they have to go through. You might have to do 3 notifications, and I've been trying and working with the legislature since 2011, and they did drop a bill, and it got stalled, so we're still fighting that fight, so it wouldn't be, I don't think they should have to do but 1 notice after 30 days, then, bring it to us, and then start that procedure that way instead of, and the way it's set out now, if I've pulled a vehicle, you've got 72 hours to start your procedure. Well, if it's from a wreck, I mean, they could be in the hospital and you don't know,
that's
or
true,
if it, it just shouldn't be as difficult
Well,
as it is.
Let me ask this. I know that we've only got a couple of minutes left, but you were talking about legislation. Is there anything that's kind of coming down the pike, maybe that you've seen out of this year's session that's going to be affecting the folks here in Walker County?
Well, it just depends on what gets passed. They had some things in as far as the Facebook, and we get things just every week where people come in and want criminal warrants because this person's put something on Facebook, and that kind of thing. But there's some things as far as garnishment. They're trying to update and change some of that. So there will be some things civil and criminal.
Well, do you, and again, I know that I'm asking you to speculate here, but like with the Facebook issue that you were mentioning, do you think that there's probably coming a time where that there'll be some type of parameters that'll be set up, I guess, that will limit, what people can and can't say, in a form like that?
I do, and in fact, we already have that to a certain extent, but as far as threats and that kind of thing.
Wow.
But
yeah,
I do see that coming, yes.
Well, we again appreciate you coming and spending some time with us during this session. It's always interesting to find out, sort of what's going on behind the scenes. And I know that you're not necessarily out front, in the political framework of things. But again, we appreciate all that you do, and keeping I guess that whole civil rapport happening within our county, and again, we just want to say thank you for coming out and being with us.
Well, thank you.
And again, we appreciate you tuning in and enjoying, again, this conversation with our magistrate judge. Again, if they have questions, is there a phone number maybe that they
Yes.
can call your office?
706-638-1217.
Well, there you have it. She's located in Lafayette. If you don't know where her office is, just actually come, to the courthouse, and someone can direct you where that you need to be. But again, viewers, we appreciate you tuning in, and until next time, thank you so much. Well, thank you again for joining us for this segment of Smart Growth Walker County. It's always our pleasure to be able to spotlight the many services that are actually brought to you from our county government. And again, we appreciate Shelia Thompson for coming out and being with us. Again, we hope that you learned something and gained something from our conversation. And again, until next time, Walker County, thank you so much.